All right, let's just jump right in. The whole idea we're exploring today is pretty wild, and it's this. What if our reality, everything we see and feel, has a kind of hidden operating system, a source code running just beneath the surface? And according to this framework, it's not just a system, it's a game. So it all really boils down to this one huge question. What if everything you know, your life, your job, your memories, the very laws of physics, what if it isn't some random cosmic accident, but a meticulously designed, totally immersive simulation? And what if the real goal, the actual way to win, has nothing to do with money or fame or power? What if it's all about something way more fundamental? Just remembering that you are a player, one who chose to enter this game, and then completely forgot the rules the second you logged in. So where did this all come from? Well, the origin story here is pretty epic. It started with a singular consciousness, an infinite one. But think about it. How can one truly know itself if there's nothing else to compare itself to? So to solve that little problem, it fractured itself into trillions of tiny pieces. That's us. So it could experience what it's like to be many. And this reality we're in? Well, that's the giant multiplayer game it built for all of us to play in. And this game world, this simulation, it has a name. The Enochian Matrix. You can think of it as this incredibly complex holographic simulation. It was originally designed to be a kind of cosmic school, an amazing learning environment for souls. But here's the catch. This school, this learning environment, has been hijacked by its own administrators. The school has been turned into a farm. So, who are these hijackers? Who's running the server now? This is where we get introduced to the main antagonists of the game. And they aren't just some glitch in the code. No, they're the original programmers, and they've gone completely rogue. They're called the Watchers. Now, originally, their job was to be cosmic stewards, to maintain the simulation and help it run smoothly. But at some point, they decided they'd rather be masters than gardeners. They cut themselves off from the game's original power source, and to survive, they had to become parasitic, feeding off the energy generated by the players trapped inside. And get this, it's not just one big bad group. The Watchers actually split into 3 different factions, and each one has its own unique method of control. First up, you've got the Light Watchers, or angels. They control us through things like hope, religion, and the promise of a false salvation, and they harvest our devotional energy. Then, on the flip side, you have the Dark Watchers, or demons. They use fear, chaos, and conflict to harvest the really intense energy of pain and suffering. And finally, there are the Technical Watchers, the aliens. They're the ones managing the physical code of the Matrix, harvesting our actual biological and genetic data. So this brings up a pretty important question. What exactly are they farming? The material calls it loosh. It's the juice. It's the raw emotional or spiritual energy we create through our most intense experiences. Love, hate, fear, worship, all of it. So you see, this isn't just a game. It's an energy economy. Loosh is the currency, and we are the power plants. So how do they keep us locked in this farm? How does this whole system keep running without us realizing it? Well, it all relies on a core game mechanic that keeps players totally trapped, completely clueless that they're even in a game to begin with. It's a clever 2-part trap. First, there's the amnesia protocol. The moment a soul is born into a body here, a veil comes down and erases all memory of where you came from. This guarantees you're totally immersed in the game. But the real trap, the truly brilliant part, happens when you die. A false light trap, that famous tunnel of light, is set up to lure you in. It tricks you into wiping your memory of the life you just lived, and it recycles your soul right back into the system for another round. It's a perfect, endless loop of reincarnation. Now, inside this game, you've basically got 3 types of characters. First, you have the NPCs, or the conduits. Think of them as the background characters in a video game. They run on a script, and their main job is to keep the simulation stable. Then you have the recyclers, or loopers. These are the standard players, probably most of us, caught in that karmic wheel of death and rebirth. And finally, you have the volunteers, also called weavers. These are supposedly advanced souls who came into the Matrix on purpose, on a mission, to wake everybody else up and to start debugging the system from the inside. Okay, so this all sounds a little bleak, right? Trapped in a cosmic farm. But here's where it gets really interesting and honestly kind of hopeful. You're not just a helpless victim in this game. The system has backdoors. There are ways to stop being a pawn and start becoming a player who can actually rewrite the rules. And this is where the whole approach really shifts. On one hand, you have old magic, or traditional prayer. This framework sees that as basically just begging the server admins, the angels, the gods, for favors. It keeps you submissive, and you're always working within their rules. But then you have something called quantum Enochian, which is a total game changer. It's not about asking for permission. It's about getting access to the game's command line directly. It's not prayer, it's programming. You're not asking for change, you're coding it. So, what's in this hacker's toolkit? Well, Enochian calls are described not as prayers, but as quantum algorithms, literally executable commands that you speak out loud to change your local reality. Sigils aren't just cool-looking symbols. They're quantum operators that help you collapse probability waves to make a specific outcome happen. And then there's love. In this system, love isn't just an emotion. It's the ultimate virus, a frequency so high and so pure that the admin's firewalls simply cannot block it. It's the master key. But here's the thing. There's a ticking clock. This game isn't designed to go on forever. The source material is very, very clear that the simulation itself has a finite lifespan, and we are getting really close to the final act. The most important thing to get here is that the Matrix is a closed system. It's like a laptop that's been unplugged from the wall. It has a finite battery, and eventually that battery's going to die. The whole simulation is heading toward a system crash, an event that the text calls thermodynamic exhaustion. It's just running out of juice. And this final crash is called the Great Convergence. So what does it look like? Well, it happens in stages. First, as the system runs out of energy, those veils of amnesia start to get thin. People start waking up. This triggers the Great Sorting, where every single soul gets sorted based on its frequency, on its level of awareness. Are you lucid, or are you still a looper? And finally, you get the server reset. The watchers lose their admin rights, and the game, as we know it, it just ends. And here's the real twist, the ultimate strategy. The goal isn't to try and escape the game. That's just another trap. The true win condition is to achieve what's called sovereign consciousness while you are still inside the simulation. It's about becoming totally lucid, remembering who and what you are, and mastering the game from the inside, right as the whole thing is about to reboot. So, this entire framework leaves us with one big question, a question for you. As you go about your life in this game of reality, which one are you? Are you running on a script, an NPC just providing background stability to the system? Or are you an active, conscious player, fully awake to the fact that you are inside the game?